Hey guys, welcome to BP, the Bible Perspective. People are going to have to die if you want to stop the senseless killing that is ravaging the inner cities across this nation. Now, before I get into it, please like and share this video and subscribe to BP, the Bible Perspective. And as always, if you have a thought or comment, add it to the comment section below. All comments are welcome. I wasn't being dramatic when I said people will have to die and or go to jail. I'm going to explain that. Let's just go back for a minute and remember what has dominated some news coverage of late is the senseless shootings that you see. People ask the question, what is going on in the black community? Night after night in these inner cities, these senseless killings, and they are horrific. But they're nothing new, right? A couple of years ago, there was a young boy, I believe he was 9 or so, lured into a Chicago alley and was gunned down, murdered, executed as a message to his gang-banging father. It used to be sometimes the innocent victims who, of course, suffer the most. A valedictorian on their way to college, gunned down. Maybe somebody who just graduated from college, getting ready to start their life, gunned down. Who can forget when Michelle Obama attended Hadea Pendleton's funeral? She was the daughter of 2 police officers and was gunned down when somebody opened fire at a park while they were sitting waiting for the bus to come. Now, that person was found and is in jail. But why did these things keep happening? So what is really the big problem, and why do these things happen? Well, first and foremost, what is, I think, wrong is people really don't care. Now, I'm going to say some things that's going to be very hard, I believe, and controversial. But that's the first thing. People don't care. People don't care about what goes on in inner cities and black neighborhoods or poor neighborhoods. They just don't care. So when they make the news, yeah, it pricks at our consciousness a little bit. We really don't care. See, already those stories are already old news, and for the most part, out of the minds of people. That's not to say that people don't care. I'm just saying that, it's not that people don't care. It's just that, well, we don't have no really concern of what goes on in those neighborhoods. What's even more worse is that there are people that use these stories for sensationalism, meaning the media. Others use them to score or to score political points. Others use it as political weapons, right? If words Black Lives Matter, how come they're not protesting in the inner cities? What about black on black crime? And the people who are saying that, shame on you, because you know you really don't care. That you're only making that statement because you're trying to insult Black Lives Matter. Well, here's the other problem. The bigger issue. As I said, people really don't care what goes on in inner cities. Why do these things happen? There's really no effort. There's really no pressure to solve the problem. What do I mean? First, let's look at who's doing the shooting. So when people like the media say the black community, even our president says the black community. Well, it's a certain portion of the black community, a certain area where these things are happening. And a certain area where they're happening is usually poor, gang, and drug-infested areas, crime-ridden areas. When people say black on black crime, that's an insult because you don't say white on white crime. This is what I mean. In any ethnic group, the majority of the people are going to experience the majority amount of crime within that ethnic group. So you can say black on black crime, but you can equally say white on white crime, Hispanic on Hispanic crime, Chinese on Chinese crime. Why? Because people are segregated. And where there are mixed area, you got a mixture of all of these crime on crimes. But the poor areas suffer because, as a society, we don't care about the poor. Unless, of course, they make the news. Now, in some of those cases where these little babies were killed, they've made arrests. But there are scores of people where they don't make arrests. And they go unsolved. It gets back to the bigger problem that in every city this happens. Why don't the police storm in there and solve these problems? Politically, again, people don't care. If a cop gets shot in this exact same neighborhood, they're going to be such a show of force and arrest, usually within 3 days, if that long. And if you notice, you don't have drive-by shootings in middle-class areas, white areas, wealthy areas, especially wealthy areas. So why is it that the gangbangers, these are the ones who are doing the shootings, don't go up and shoot other neighborhoods? Why don't they go shoot up those neighborhoods? You know why? Because they know that the police will respond in force. They will storm the inner cities. They will shut down drugs, crime. They're going to kick the doors of your mama, grandmama, aunties, cousins. And they're going to always solve fine if you do that. So why aren't they doing it now? You see, if they really wanted to solve the problems, and let me also say this, people blame the community sometimes. Well, when you have a situation where they don't care, okay, so now you're at the mercy of the gangbangers and the shooters. You can't tell because the police don't care. If you go and say, look, so-and-so shot, so-and-so was the trigger man, and the police don't give you proper protection, you know what's going to happen? You're going to get shot. You're going to get targeted. So if the community knows that they have the support of the police, and remember, police is a problem in America. They don't care. But you also have corrupt police. You also have racist police. And they sometimes overshadow the good police. So if you really want to bridge that gap, police have to say, we're here for you. We're going to support you. But beyond that, it's got to be more than just, we're going to protect you until the court date. If you really going to say, we're going to storm these neighborhoods and get rid of these bad apples, let's talk about these bad apples and why I said some people are going to have to die. When you have a person who is so cold-hearted, so uncaring, that they can shoot and have no guilt, have no kind of conscience about gunning down a 1-year-old, a 3-year-old, a 9-year-old, or an innocent person, or a mother, that person needs to be removed from society. In order to do that, you have to have a strong show of force. So, because they have no fear, they have no value of life, they may turn their guns on them. That's why I say there's going to be bloodshed. They're going to die. Others will go to jail. And if the police make it clear that, hey, we're going to be such a strong force that we're going to rid out these kinds of people from society, the balance will eventually come. But remember, right now, they're not even making that effort. So when you see the mayors sitting up there saying, "Oh, we're outraged at these shootings," remember the mayors and the police chief, they could go in, okay, and solve that. And let me just say one thing, because the problem with policing is tell them to leave the good people alone. Say that, hey, bad cops are going to be held accountable too. But I'm not talking about policing, but let's get back to this. If a policing, assuming they're good, if there's a strong policing, they could root out and let it be known you're these heartless, gutless, and I'm going to say cowards, will not be tolerated, that we're going to root you out of these neighborhoods, they could do it. As I said, if a cop gets shot in there, that person is going to jail. And every now and then, when you see people, one of these gangbangers go downtown and carjack people or arm rob people, you're going to see a response from the police, because they're not going to allow it in those areas, and they can do the same thing in these. They can do the same thing in these poor areas. The sad news is they won't, because they don't care. I'm Lynn Cornell. That's my perspective. And until next time, don't forget to like and share this video. Subscribe to BP The Bible Perspective. Leave a comment. Until next time, I'll see you then.